Hello. Hi, guys. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. I totally woke up and had so much stuff to do right from the start of the day. Sorry, I'm so late. About 2 hours late. But we'll get through this. So welcome to my channel. I'm going to be doing a reading for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Also for your cross watchers. Also for those of us who find ourselves on this channel without any Piscean anything. You're probably an empath and you're probably needing messages from your soul. Okay? So let me get us some cards first. I asked what this reading was going to be about, and what I heard is there is so much at stake. So this is telling me that for many, you're probably at some sort of crossroads, okay? You're probably at a point where the type of guidance you're receiving is super important. You can't allow yourself to be kind of like, it's almost like tricked into a place of smallness, self-doubt. It's just one of those things where if you allow yourself to buy into all those insecurities, because the feeling is that there's going to be a lot of things that are going to occur over the next few weeks that's going to cause you to feel very insecure. Okay? These things, these insecurities are going to be triggered by life events, interactions that you have, maybe even just your simple thought. Sometimes your thought alone is enough to trigger that type of thing, And so what's going to end up happening is you're going to experience events and interactions that will cause you to question who you are, your integrity, and all of these other very important things. If you don't get in control of how your triggers are utilized by things outside of you, you're not going to have the power when this starts to really amp up, when this becomes an actual issue. Okay. You're going to feel as though you're losing more of who you are, your direction, all of these things. So there's a lot at stake. I'm assuming for some of you, you've been working on something, some sort of project. Maybe it's like a business type of project. Maybe, I don't know. It's a difficult feeling. Almost like this sense of you've been forced into a situation where you feel like you didn't really have the options that you wanted to have, that you've had to kind of just go in survival mode, and it's like, that kind of makes me sad because it's like you deserve to do more than just survive your own life. Like, oh my gosh. Like what kind of environment is that you're just constantly in a state of, I need to survive my life. I need to survive the people in my life. Maybe it's time to assess why these people who make you feel this way are in your life. Or more importantly, is it the people or is it old insecurities that continue to pop up for you and continue to create issues within your thoughts? I think that's a really important question to ask yourself. Like, is it me? Am I the one thinking this way? Are people doing things to make me think or feel this way, or is it just me? That's super important. That's like super important. Understanding where the root causation of your struggles. That's like so important. I can't even emphasize that enough. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. These are the cards. So there's some type of union. This has to do with a union that's been going on, right? Um, I don't know. There's two feelings that pop up. Two feelings. The first feeling has to do with a union that just ended. I don't know if maybe you broke up with someone or there's maybe been something else going on and that some sort of partnership had to end. Maybe it's work stuff, maybe it's relationship stuff. I don't know. So you pair these two together, that union along with an upside down homecoming. Like this is someone that once upon a time felt like home to you. You wanted to make them your home. You wanted so badly to have this type of connection. Or maybe this is a different person, someone who's approaching you. Um, they tried so badly to create this happy, healthy home. Ooh, it's this sense of like trying to prove to themselves, trying to prove to you, maybe. That's weird. Trying to prove to you. Maybe they were trying to prove to themselves that, um, where the hell is this coming from? Okay, I will just blurt it out because I don't know where this is coming from. It doesn't really make sense. Um, I don't know if this is like one of your exes or what, but it's almost like they're trying to prove to you that you're not as important to them as it was once thought. Like trying to prove that they don't need you. Yo, that is like the dumbest reason to not just start another relationship, but to get married. Come on, you guys. I don't know who needs to hear this message, but you don't do that. You don't make this huge, huge forward leap towards a massive lifelong commitment just to prove to someone else who's not even in that relationship that you don't need them. Here's my logic. I'm grateful I have never been in this situation. Here's my logic though. If you have to prove something to someone else in regards to romance, you're really not in the position that you're trying to convince yourself you are. You're not in this position where you don't need them, where they don't mean anything to you, where, like, I've never had to prove anything to an ex boyfriend. Like, when I move on, I just move on. And if I have to prove something to an ex boyfriend, like, oh, see, you lost me. Now I'm going to show you what you missed. I'm clearly not over it. I'm clearly wanting to still be in that relationship. Like, you guys, understand your value, even when your environment doesn't. Okay. Try and understand your actual value. You have an intrinsic worth just because you exist. Yes, you have an actual worth just because you exist. And you spend your entire life trying to figure out, trying to rediscover what that worth is. These people who come across your path, who play these types of games with you, please try and see them as someone who your soul has brought to your path to gift you an opportunity to choose yourself. Choose yourself. That's the one thing in this life that can never leave you through your entire lifetime. The self. The self and the soul. Okay? Um oh, yikes. So Chi says, just started a new job in sales, and honestly, I'm finding I'm getting panic attacks before the calls. I hyperventilate. I know I can do it, but I'm beginning to doubt my decision about it. Oh, I can't do sales. The same thing happens to me. It's this thing of like, it doesn't feel right for me to do sales, like, at all. Simply because I'm highly empathic and I can feel exactly the entry point that can be used to coerce you into agreement with what I tell you to buy. And that just doesn't sit right with me. I used to get panic attacks too. I'm wondering if this is, like I said, your soul is bringing you to a place where you're recognizing you are one of your options. You can choose yourself. You can choose your sanity. I'm not trying to bash anyone that does sales. If you can do sales, like literally, I totally respect that. I absolutely respect that. For me, I don't have the confidence. I'm just like, oh my gosh, am I coercing you? And what drove it home for me for that, um I was 18 and I was working at a jewelry store, and this guy who was around my age comes in. It's almost Mother's Day, and I was aware he came into the store to ask for my number, and he was trying to pretend to look at jewelry, and I totally, for the first time, pounced on that. I got him to open an account and purchase, I believe it was citrine earrings and a necklace, this jewelry set for a couple $100, right? I got him to max out that account, and this was all like happened real quick, boom, boom, boom. After like 10 minutes, he had this picked out for I think it was his grandma or something, either his mom or his grandma. And I was like, yeah, I know she's gonna love it. And I really believed that for a second. And as soon as he left, I was like, wait, did I force him to do that? And all my coworkers were like, "Oh my gosh, see, that's how you do it. You totally can sell." And it still didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel right to me. But they were like, "That's how you got to do every sale, no hesitation, this and that." And they were trying to coach me, and I was like, "Okay, okay." I cried when I got home. I literally cried when I got home from work that night. And you know what happened? Within 7 days he came back, and cuz I gift wrapped it for him. I gift wrapped it. They had free gift wrapping during that period. And his mother or grandmother could not even, they didn't even open it. They told him to return it. And I was just like, I'm so sorry. And then I got in trouble. I got in trouble because after he left, we did do the return. And after he left, my manager was like, "What are you doing apologizing?" I was like, "Well, I knew he didn't want it. I knew he didn't need it." And he's like, "You're not here to determine what people need. You're here to sell things." I was just like, "Oh my God, I can't work here. I cannot work here." So what they did, mind you, I was 18 and I would wear like crazy ass dominatrix outfits to work. What they did, because I refused to sell, I was crying so hard. Um, Instead, they just put me in the front of the store. They put me in the front of the store. They're like, all you got to do is tell people to come in. They'll listen to you. Let us figure the rest out. And I was like, but yeah, no, I can't. I can't do that. And see, that's the thing. It's like, not all of us are here to be sales. Not all of us are here to sell something. We are here to exist in a way that's honoring the alignment between self and soul. And when that alignment becomes misaligned, you begin to have issues with like panic attacks, anxiety, depression, all sorts of different quote unquote psychological type problems. I don't think they're problems. I think they're symptomatic presentations of what's at stake here. Because you're paying a price to function in a way that is not really who you are. Not long after I quit that jewelry job, I ended up working for another company. And this one was not commission based, right? I became the regional sales specialist. I became the number one salesperson in the region, not in the store, in the entire region. Why? Because that was more aligned with what I needed. And what did I need? Although sales were involved, I needed to be able to interact with people very personally and be able to communicate with them. I was a makeup artist. I was a makeup artist for this one company, and I would, whenever people come into the store, I would do their makeup. I don't care if you're homeless. I don't care. Like, I don't care. If I'm not helping someone, come in, play with me. Let's do makeup. And 9 times out of 10, they would purchase this makeup. And here's the thing. I would never tell them they need to purchase anything. I would just be like, help me waste time. And I really, truly meant that. And then when the company began to realize the gravity of what I could do, because I was actually connecting with people, I was actually like genuinely connecting with people. I was bringing out of them a beauty that I could see, but they couldn't. That's the beauty of makeup. I can accentuate parts of you that are the most beautiful parts. People think like, oh, you use makeup to make your eyes look bigger because you're colonized and this and that. No. I strategically place pigments and enhancers on the areas that help to better showcase the window to my soul. You're not drawn to my eyes because of my makeup. You're drawn to my eyes because of the depth that you normally would not have noticed had I not dressed it up. And that began to crash and burn when the company began to realize, like, I could generate sales like no one else. Like, literally. I was working 7 days a week. On my days off, even if I'd just gotten off my shift, sometimes the manager would call me and she would bribe me with chocolate-covered gummy bears. I'd be like, no, girl, I'm not coming in. She goes, we didn't make our quota yet. I'll give you a pound of chocolate-covered gummy bears. I'm like, the white kind? She's like, yeah, whatever you want. Pick what you want from the sweet factory. I'll have it for you when you arrive. So I would come in. And even if they were down like 20, 30 grand in sales, I'll make that up in 90 minutes. How? By helping people connect with themselves. And I had to quit that job when they began to tell me, listen, if they ask you what makeup you're wearing, you have to tell them our products. And I'm like, but I'm not wearing that. You have to tell them that. I'm like, but I'm not wearing that. Yeah. They would tell me, you have to tell them you're wearing our foundation, but I don't wear foundation. I don't wear foundation. I can't tell them that. You have to. No, I'm not going to. And then that created so much anxiety within me. I don't like lying to people. I just don't. When you find the alignment between self and soul and you open yourself to receive, you end up working in this form where it's like, it's not even work to you. It's something you would probably do for free, willingly do for free. But now you're being compensated for the time and effort and energy you're sharing with other people. Now you're being compensated for that. There's nothing wrong with compensation for the gravity of your presence. Something huge is at stake here. And I think your sense of self is the biggest thing at stake here. You know? That's the biggest thing at stake. Mobile MBZ specialist says, yeah, I have a friend that always says, keep the love in your heart, but he's an eviction attorney. Talk about internal conflict. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not doing well with his health. Like reading that, I feel like his energy is just really gentle and loving. Talk about misalignment. Talk about misalignment, you know? You guys have to listen to the way your emotions guide you. Like I realized quite a few years back, like I can't work for anyone. I have to work for myself or not work at all because I just can't work for other people telling me what to do and trying to guide me to do things that are not in alignment with who I am and what I am. You know, you have to be able to be willing to give yourself permission to realign yourself in your life. You have to. If you don't, I promise you, this world is structured in such a way where the more misaligned you become, the more easier it becomes to further misalign you. And then eventually you'll wake up one day and see 20, 30 years have passed. You're very unhappy. You feel like you haven't accomplished anything. It's not about notoriety. It's not about celebrityhood or wealth. It's about living with purpose, allowing yourself to exist in such a way that's very full of purpose. Full of purpose. It's important. It's really, really important. It's important for you to find out who you are and what you were created to do. It might not make you extremely wealthy, but when you have wealth of soul, wealth of spirit, I mean, that's far, far more valuable than any number in a bank account. I know plenty of wealthy people, like wealthy. They're not happy. The ones who are very happy and are wealthy, you'd never guess they were wealthy. They are the most down to earth, very humble, very simple life living type of people. You'd never guess they were wealthy. Never. And I think that's why they're happy. A lot of the people who are like outwardly wealthy, um, they broadcast their wealth and then they're worried that people are using them for that wealth. If you don't want to be worried about people's intentions, stop broadcasting how wealthy you are. Don't broadcast it, hide it. No one knows what I make. Why? Because everyone still thinks I'm homeless. Everyone still thinks like, girl, you've been wearing the same shirt for like 5 years. I don't care. What I make or don't make financially, that's no one's business. What I do with that is no one's business. No one's. If you see the person that sits in front of you offering only herself, and that's enough for you, beautiful. I'll invest in you the way you invest in me. Beautiful. If I need to show you the tax bracket I'm in order to garner some basic level of dignity and respect from you, be gone, peasant. Be gone, peasant. I don't need you in my life. I really don't. I really, really don't. So you have to make sure that your integrity is always protected. This world is structured in such a way that the first thing to be attacked would be your integrity. With that integrity lacking, with it damaged, misaligned, unbalanced, it's much easier to coerce you to believe you are someone that you are not. And any environment that makes you feel like you have to play a role in order to be tolerated, that's not worth your time. It's just not. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your effort. I promise you, I'm living proof of that. I'm literally living proof of that. I couldn't fit into any environment because there was no integrity, no authenticity there. Everything was manufactured. So you know what I did? I created my own. There's no difference between us. If you think there's a difference between us, You think like I do, that's why I resonate with you. If you didn't think the way I do, nothing I say would make sense to you. It's not because I function as some sort of leader. It's because I exist as an external projection of your internal potentiality. What's the difference between us? I'm just a little bit more stubborn and a little bit more rebellious than you are. That's it. It's not that I have less fear or more courage. It's that I'm less willing to play into someone else's expectations. That's literally it. Because there's something in me that's been there since childhood where it's like, if you tell me I can't do something, like I didn't want to do it. You know what I mean? To begin with, I really didn't want to do it. I was perfectly content being stagnant. But just because you told me no, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to do it. I'm going to have you watch me. I'm going to do it while you watch. I will. I will. And I'll look you in the eyes with a little smile as I do it. Why? Why would you do that? Because I can and you can't stop me. Because I can and you can't stop me. The only thing that can stop you is you. What's at stake here? Assess your life. Where has your life taken you? What is at stake right now? Is it merely a job? Because many of us, we get so distracted with the whole work thing, right? I mean, really, though, we all have to pay to exist. So making money is absolutely something that is important. Okay. Anyone who tells you that if you're being encouraged by another person to find a feasible, sustainable way to make a living wage, that you're somehow evil, that you're somehow selfish, that's a person that's full of utter fuckery and bullshit. Excuse me for speaking truth so passionately. They are full of utter fuckery and legit bullshit. Why? Because unless they're willing to house you, clothe you, feed you, they're really full of shit. Here's the basic thought form that helped me to develop this. I was stuck in a parking lot for about 5.5 months, right? If you didn't go out of your way to question how come I always live streamed in a public park, at Starbucks, or at a coffee shop where there is free Wi-Fi, if you didn't go out of your way to make sure my personal needs, basic human needs, were met, kindly shut your fucking mouth, because at no point did you help me barely survive this life. So you don't get to criticize me and have it be entered into my core truth as I'm now beginning to thrive. Bottom line. If they weren't there when you were struggling at your worst, these bitches are definitely, they're not welcome to criticize you as you rise. You do not have to listen to them. I don't give a damn who it is. I'm getting riled the F up. Riled the F up. We give too many people who are inconsequential to our lives and our growth the kind of power that kings and queens naturally have. These are peasants who don't understand the gravity of royal function. What is the gravity of royal function? Sovereignty. Bottom line, sovereignty. A king or queen would not go to a neighboring kingdom and tell the neighboring king and queen how to rule their kingdom. A peasant would do that. An interloper. No. Don't give them that kind of power. Hey, you didn't need their permission to exist. Granted, maybe they weren't part of why you were in a bad situation and barely surviving in the first place. But like I said, unless you went out of your way to reach out and, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Because, quite a few people after I finally decided to do something about it and allow myself to receive, um, that's when a lot of people who still didn't do anything to help me, to be honest, uh, later were like, I knew something was different. Yeah, you knew something was different. You knew something was what is the gravity of that statement? What are you trying to communicate to me by saying you knew something was different? Was different in a good way? Bad way? Then I would ask them this. You know what they would say? I don't know. There was just something different about your eyes, maybe like a sadness. And you were okay just seeing that? What are you messaging me for? Well, I knew something was just different, and I'm glad that you're finally like you got your brakes fixed. By the way, I don't have money for my utilities. Fuck you. And you guys, here's the thing, empaths, Pisceans, this entire time that I was stuck in a parking lot and I was earning, I was giving it away to other people instead of keeping it for myself so I can get out of that parking lot. Why? Because I believe that bullshit fuckery of a lie that told me that if you pay me, if you compensate me for my time while I use my naturally existing gifts, I'm evil. I'm part of the problem. Yeah. That I was evil. That I was greedy and selfish and part of the problem. I'm the reason why the Matrix exists. Oh, Lord. Yeah, no. Yeah. Explain to me the logic there. There is none. So then why did I buy into it? Because I felt like I had to apologize for existing. What was at stake? The truth and gravity of me. All these people fell away when I began to understand my worth and no longer gave everything away. Oh, I still heavily give. Don't get me wrong. I still so heavily give, just not online. Nothing ever public anymore. There were a few times where, you know, people would ask me online, and well, more than a few. It was constant. Okay. And I would stop the live stream and be like, okay, what do you need? What's going on? I feel your energy. What's going on? You say that you're sad in the, hey, everyone stop. Hold up. Someone's sad. I need to address that. No. I came across a quote last night. It's important. It's important to share this. Where is it? It's here somewhere. It's here somewhere. It's something about, let's see. It was something along the lines of, you can't save everyone. People who want to be saved don't need to be saved. And people who need to be saved won't allow you to save them. I don't know where it is. But it's something along those lines where the people who really need the help, they won't allow you to help them. They'll do what they need to do to get out of the situation that they're in. I know that that's true because that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. I still distinctly remember the day people figured out, the day I actually shared the situation that I was in. I was live streaming in St. Vrain Park, and as a bald eagle flew over my head, Michael let me know that he broke my brakes on purpose. And that's why I'd been stuck in Colorado for 5 months. Apparently, you need breaks to get in and out of Colorado, especially on an RV. Yeah, that's why I was stuck. I couldn't understand why the brakes broke because we had just had them serviced just a few months before. I was live streaming at St. Vrain Park, and Michael informed me he is so very sorry he broke my brakes because, short of that, I would not comply with what I was being told to do. And I was sobbing for the first time in front of other people on a live stream. And everyone freaked out, like, oh my God, what's wrong? What do you need? What do you need? Let us help you. We love you. Let us help you. You know what I said? Y'all would think, I need help to fix my brakes. I need $600, $700 to fix my brakes. Oh no. That was like the same amount that my husband's coworker needed to make sure she could pay her rent so she wouldn't be homeless. He knew this woman for maybe a month or two. So instead of telling people I need help to fix my brakes, I told them, I will be fine. I will make it work. But there's someone who won't be fine and she'll be homeless if I don't figure out a way to get her this money. I need the $700 for her. You do that? Do you do that? Knowing that you need help, yet refuse to accept help for yourself and instead give it to someone else because they need more than you, right? They're hurting more than you are. Because if you allow yourself to receive, somehow you're taking away from someone else. I learned the hard way. That is a lie. That is an utter lie. I learned the hard way. What finds its way to me is for me and just for me. I can share it if I choose, but I'm not obligated to. There's no penalty fee that I need to pay in energy, time, or sacrifice to be made worthy of what was rightfully mine to begin with. Your success, that's rightfully yours. You work for it, that's rightfully yours. You don't have to give any of it away because it's rightfully yours. And it's okay for you to have that mindset because guess what? I now absolutely embrace that mindset. What's mine, what I work for is mine. But pair that with the knowing, I'm just a giver. That's what I do. Asking me to not help someone when my heart tells me to is asking me to betray who I actually am. That's who I am. I'm a lover. I'm a giver. I'm a nurturer. I'm a mother to anyone who needs a mother. I can't be anything outside of that. I refuse. And to try and be anything outside of that, gosh, that initiates an internal war that just really, so much collateral damage. So much collateral damage. I don't need that anymore. I don't need an entire war to be launched within myself just so I can accommodate people who don't actually need help or saving. They just want the convenience. Yeah. You know how you know if people need help? Like truly need help? They tend to not want it. They tend to not want it. This person that I've known for a long time, years ago, I did a live stream because she had fallen on hard times. She has a bunch of kids, toddlers, and she hadn't been able to pay, I think, the electric bill in quite some time. And then it got out that she was bathing her kids in cold water because she couldn't afford the utility bill. And CPS was called. And I'm like, wait, are you going to lose your kids because of an electric bill? She wasn't calling me for help. We were friends, and she was just like, life's been hard. I just, I'll figure out a way, but I don't know if I have time. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to raise that for you. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. And she said no. She refused. She refused. Never allows anyone to help her. And I was like, bitch, I don't give a shit. Those babies are not getting taken out of the home. I don't give a shit what your ego says. I'm raising this money. Now, I won't say your name, but you don't want me to say your name. It's a lot easier if people know exactly who I'm giving this to. But bitch, I'm raising this fucking money. I don't give a shit what you say. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. And so I did. And her kid stayed with her. She got the utilities turned back on. Because that's who I am. And the only reason that was made public was because I was raising the money publicly. I wasn't in a position to give her that amount of money in one lump sum within that many days. That's the only reason. It's okay for you to be a giver if you're a giver. It's not okay to give away what's rightfully yours just because you're ashamed of receiving. A healthy giver will allow themselves to also receive so that you're never so depleted that you can no longer give. Balance. Learn to balance the reality of life and the goodness of who you are. This world is not structured in a way that celebrates your goodness. Be good anyways. Be good anyways. What's at stake is your sense of self. I could never have the appropriate, healthy level of love for myself if I ever successfully shut off my ability to give with no expectations of anything being given back. I couldn't love myself because then I wouldn't be loving the most beautiful parts of me. Carmen says, I used to feel so guilty to receive anything from anyone. It became an extra load to carry in my already full bag. Ooh. Mm. Yep. Yep. Carrying that sense of obligation. You give something to me, you give me $100, I'm going to have to give you back at least 250, if not 5. Because I couldn't be in debt to someone like that. See, here's what I realized. That's a trauma response. It's a trauma response. I used to do that because I was afraid of what type of hold you would have over me if I didn't pay it back. Extra, extra, extra. It's a trauma response. Is that all we are? An accumulation of responses based in trauma. Use those trauma responses to cultivate your growth. They say trauma is destructive, right? It breaks you up. So is a rototiller. You know, one of those tilling machines? It cuts into the soil and it breaks it up. It crushes it. It's so destructive. But you can definitely use that to cultivate the soil for your garden. Everything you have in you, from trauma to trauma responses to cognitive dissonance to all of that, that can be used in your favor, not against other people, but for your growth. Grow yourself. Defy the odds. You're not just a statistic. You're not just a stereotype. Defy other people's expectations of you. Defy it. Become so rebellious to this life that you refuse to stay down every time it knocks you down. Like, Emmy, but that's a never winning battle. Okay, but you're seeing it as a battle. I'm seeing it as life assisted squats. I mean, the donk that I'd build. I'm just saying, it's all about your perspective. How you see things is how you'll experience it. And if you see things as life knocking you down all the time, so you should just stay down, then yeah, you're going to fail yourself. I don't see it like that. I see it as an assisted squat. Well, I'm unbalanced. I don't have both feet on the ground. Okay, it's a pistol squat then. That's even harder. That'll grow me even more. I don't give a shit. I'm getting back every single time. I'm getting the fuck back up simply because you don't want me to. I'm just saying. Rebelliousness tickles. Hey, see it as a pistol squat. Just because people tell you life's knocking you down doesn't mean you have to believe them. It doesn't mean you have to believe them. Someone once assessed my life a few years ago. They assessed my life and they were like, Emmy, like, you got to be realistic about your effect on people. What's my effect on people? What do you mean? What they said was, I have to be realistic about the way I trigger people. Trigger people how? You're just too honest. Okay. And what is the problem with that? I'm sorry. I don't understand. I don't follow. Well, you're going to have to learn how to pull back a little bit and not be so honest. Why? You're just going to have to filter what comes out of your mouth. Because why? Because why? Well, if you want to grow a huge audience, you're going to have to. Well, what if I don't? What if I don't want to grow an audience? Well, then why do you live stream? For my self-healing. I'm not building a product. I am the product. My self-healing is the product. So what now? Well, people are not going to accept that. I'm not here to be accepted. Well, then why live stream? Because my soul forces me to. I don't want to be publicly visible. This person's spending so much time trying to convince me that I'm existing wrong. Granted, sometimes I have attitude that's unnecessary. Just because I feel like it. I'm trying to work on that. That's my way of rebelling against what my soul tells me to do. But here's the thing. Because I held on to who I am, out of just pure rebelliousness, I was gifted with the creation of a community full of you guys. I'd say that's a huge award. That is a huge award and reward for sticking to my integrity and who I actually am. Huge reward and award. To have built a community where it's like it literally feels like home. So I think it was Marsha. She commented in a previous video. She commented this thing of like the petals, the leaves, the thorns, and the soil. Emmy, don't forget, you're totally the soil as well, right? I'm paraphrasing. And I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, no, not the soil, the roots. So the thorns, the leaves, the petals, and the roots, like you're the roots, right? I'm the roots. And it's this realization, like I felt it completely in my heart. If I'm also the roots, then all of you are the soil my roots live within. You guys keep me grounded. You keep the most vulnerable parts of me covered with your grace. What a beautiful thing to finally be able to exist as I am with no alterations and no fears of the fact that I'm not going to alter myself anymore. I will continue to shift and grow. And all of that is valid and okay. What a beautiful, powerful thing to finally experience for the first time in my life. People think that it's easy for me to be who I am because I have all of you supporting me, which, hey, let's not minimize that. That's a huge deal to me. But here's the thing. I don't want to cry. It took me over 40 years to no longer care whether I had that or not before I could actually have that. It took me finding the courage to just finally be who I am in order for what I needed to become who I am to be realized, recognized, and received by me. Tell me that's not a conundrum. I have to be what I need to be before I can be what I need to be. And it's okay. It's okay. Because at the end of the day, I'm exactly where I need to be. Surrounded by the people who are what I need. And the fact that it took me over 40 years to get there is now irrelevant. I see that as 40 years invested in the cultivation of my understanding so that I could be more prepared and better able to properly cherish every single one of you. I don't see it as an investment in myself. I see it as putting in the work, the effort to grow myself to be worthy of your presence. Because it's huge. Your presence has such a powerful effect on me. And in turn, I'm able to reflect that back to you and have a mutually beneficial effect. This is a mutually beneficial environment. Never again will I tolerate something that's not mutually beneficial. You want more from me than what I'm willing to offer? Fuck out of here. Emmy, why do you have to be so abrasive though? Because you didn't hear me when I whispered it. So I will speak the language that you understand, with no fear of my people being offended, because they too understand what it feels like to have your needs whispered ever so gently so as not to offend, and to have those very needs continue to be ignored, disregarded. So you wonder why I'm abrasive? Well, the real question is, why did you force me to become abrasive? Why couldn't you hear me when I whispered it gently in your ear? Please stop hurting me. It's always the people who never really had the power to dominate you in the way that you allowed that get upset when you take your power back. Like, how dare you? How dare you recognize you're more powerful than me and that I needed your consent to do this to you? How dare you? Yeah, I don't give a shit. How dare you? How dare you be dumb enough to think that I would always bend over backwards for you? How dare you think that in my bending over backwards for you, that I wouldn't develop some flexible strength? You can't break me. Why? Because it was you who taught me to be flexibly strong through your adversity. You hate how strong I am? Then you should hate yourself because you're the one that cultivated this type of strength in me. You encouraged me with your existence to become defiant to your own bullshit. I found that empaths and Pisceans, we have this ability to become flexibly strong at a rate that most other people they can't do it. It doesn't make us better, it just makes us different. And here's the thing. You don't have to spend any more time hating yourself for the process it took for you to learn to be flexibly strong. See, in America, in the United States, we think that in order to become flexible, it's like, gentle movements, right? Just gently lean. No. If you want to develop that type of flexibility, that's painful. It requires a commitment and a sacrifice of your fear that tells you, I can't do this. I mean, I invite you to watch videos of children who have been taken in by Shaolin monks and are being trained in the ancient Shaolin practices. Those children, I'm like, you have more mental strength than most adults. To be able to train your body and your mind to work as one, overriding all of these limitations that come from the mental instability created by the fear. At the end of the day, what do you fear? That you can't do it? If you're so afraid that you never try, then for sure you'll never do it. My youngest is having a certain type of lesson pop up in his life. He's a perfectionist and overachiever just like me. One of my siblings gifted them, the kids, with a foosball table. I don't know if it was a good thing or a wicked thing. I don't know. So we have a foosball table, not a full size one. It's like a tabletop one. It's a little kids one. And every day they play foosball. Their dad is a foosball like master. He ain't just gonna let you win. And I tell him that's fine. The kids need to learn, like, if they want to win at something, if they want to achieve something, they have to go full force into it. You have to. You're not going to be given freebies just because what? And so, I mean, he's not being a dick about it. He's not like, I got another point. No, but when he wins, our youngest just like, he shuts down. He gets real upset. He's so frustrated. And just yesterday, I was talking to him inside his tent. We have a tent in the house. We were in his tent and I was talking to him and he was crying. And I was like, it's okay. You're disappointed in yourself. That's okay. It's okay to feel these things. That's a part of how you learn. But here's the thing. You can't let yourself shut down just because you get disappointed. Instead, take that frustration and get back up. Do it again. Play it again. Play it again. Play it again. Eventually, you'll realize that every time you lose, you're learning how your daddy wins. So you take what you learn and you use it. You take his skills, you make them your own, and then you use it. You beat them at their own game. You can cry. You can feel upset. If you don't want to talk about it right now, we don't have to. I can just sit here. But I'm not ever going to tell you that someone is being mean because they put effort into something and their skills were greater than yours. You want to be that skilled? Keep working at it. Keep going, keep winning, keep working. And, he's won quite a few times. I couldn't even score off of him. He's my littlest. I couldn't score off him. And y'all, I tried. I tried and he was like, Mommy, let's play again. I said, you know what? I'm getting real frustrated. I can't play you no more. I can't. I got to go sit down because I got to just remind myself, you're my kid. You're my kid. I can't play with you. I can't play with you right now. I was like, are you being a sore loser? Yes, I am. And I don't want to be that. So I'm gonna just go sit on the couch and just sit on the couch. That's what I'm going to do. And it's okay for me to be that candid with my child, that honest, where it's like, you know what? I'm having a problem with self-regulation. Like those feelings that I have, I want to beat your ass. Not like physically, but in the game, you know? Like that's not appropriate. That's why I'm not allowed to play games with the kids, you know? We can't play board games. I'm not allowed to play video games with them. That's just a standing family rule because I'm too competitive. Like I'm either not competitive at all or overly competitive. Understanding that that's how I am, that helps me to better regulate that. When I feel that, I have to remind myself, like, girl, who's your opponent right now? This is one of your children. This is not a stranger that you're playing this game at some pub or something. This is one of your children. And when we used to go, when we used to go to the Vegas Strip, we take them to Circus, and we would play air hockey. I just cannot control myself. I just cannot control myself. Luckily the luckily the arcades is loud because the amount of shit talking that I'm saying under my breath, that's right, bitch. I got you. Like if they heard that, oh my God, it would hurt their feelings. That's why I can't play that. Self-regulation. What is at stake here? What's at stake here? Like I'm telling funny stories and stuff, but the reality is, what's at stake if I don't have that cognition, that awareness of my behaviors and the effects on my environment, and then consciously choose to modify it? That's so destructive for a child. That is so destructive for a child to be around. What type of behaviors do you have that you're not aware of that's been so destructive for your inner child? What behaviors? You have to identify them now, because if you don't, these are the very entry points that will be used, exploited over the next couple weeks. Something huge is at stake. Someone is going to be presenting you with an option. Evolve or remain. If you remain in the same patterns that you've existed in, you stand absolutely no chance of creating a new life for yourself. And it's not to say that your life is horrible. It's to say that you've come to a point of realization that this life is not in alignment with the life you deserve, the life you need, and the life that's worthy of you. What are you unhappy about in your life? Why are you unhappy about it? Have you vocalized this unhappiness? And if you have not, why? If it's the people in your life, you need to begin reassessing why they are in your life. I'm not encouraging you to cut people out. I'm encouraging you to question, what function do they provide for you, for your growth? Is their adversity something that's healthy for you? Does it challenge you to grow yourself further, to further ripen your awareness? Or are they simply there tearing you down? I mean, unless you're in the process of a deconstruction, why would you need someone to keep tearing you down if you're trying to build something up? There are certain people who it's like, yeah, I'm never going to have interaction with you. And they want to think that it's because I'm afraid of them, or, no, you serve no purpose in my life. All you do is try and trap me in cyclical patterns of toxicity. I'm done with that. You can do that on your own. You're going to talk shit about me regardless. Go ahead, talk shit about me without me. I'm moving forward. Stay in that place. That's fine. At least I know you're contained. You're going to be stagnant for the rest of your life. I'm not. I'm choosing something different. I'm choosing me. The period in my life where I allowed myself to really truly believe that and embrace that for myself is a period where I began to understand the gravity of my need to love myself and how I would begin that process and journey. I began to understand it. Yep. Yep. And I tell you guys, family is not just the people who are biologically similar to you, people who share your genetics. That's not all the family you have in this life. It's just not. It's not. I love my siblings. One of them is stupid, though. I'm just saying, that's messy. That's fine. I have a disdain for one of my siblings. I'll just leave it at that. But my other siblings are amazing people, right? They're amazing. I have tremendous love for them. But here's the thing, I realize that I have other family as well who are just as amazing, who are able to provide me the love, the type of loving environment that I craved as a child, that I so needed as a child and I didn't have. Yeah. And it's amazing. It's amazing to basically have a second childhood where I'm exposed to people who are gentle in the way they love me, who don't try and dominate me, but when it's time to like make a suggestion because they see something, like I'm headed down a path and it's like, all right, let's give her some time to figure it out. And they don't have the fear of letting me know, like, okay, well, since you asked, yeah, I didn't like that. I know you probably shouldn't have done that. It's a beautiful thing. It's a very, very beautiful thing to finally be centered in my own life. Have you chosen your centeredness? See, spiritual people, they would tell you the key to a beautiful life is balance. If that's your goal, you will never find it. You will spend your entire life trying to maintain that balance, trying to reach it and stay there. People who walk tightropes, that's what you're going to do. Walk a tightrope for the rest of your life, trying to balance, needing different tools to try and help you keep that balance, constantly jittering one way and another way and wiggling and, oh my gosh, in a state of tension. So then what's the goal? For me personally, what I recognized, the most powerful goal is to be centered in your truth. By virtue of your centeredness, you naturally will have balance. When you find that center of gravity, the center of your gravity, not just gravity as in like physically balancing, I'm talking about the importance of you, the gravity of you. When you become centered in that knowing, it's very hard for life to knock you down. Even people who understand the logistics of fulcrum and using your own mass against you. I look at it as like, some type of energetic MMA. Here's the thing. I grew up with nothing but brothers. Didn't really have any female friends or any of that. Mostly just all males. Growing up with brothers like mine, you learn to grapple. Or you learn to submit. Guess who learned to grapple? When we're on the ground, it doesn't matter how tall you are or how short I am. If I know how to use fulcrum, I can break your bone. I can dislocate your joint, even with little old body parts like mine. I can do that. Knowing that I can makes me feel safer in my tininess. Y'all, I'm not that small. I know you guys want to believe that I'm really that small. And granted, I'm wearing my kid's jacket because I couldn't find mine. That's why the sleeves are so short. But I'm not that small. I'm not that small. I'm just saying. Learn what you need to learn so that you're safe in whatever position you find yourself in. Literally. Learn what you need to learn. You have to. One of the things I'm most grateful about being the size that I've been most of my life is that I've made it a point to learn things, to teach myself things that level the playing field. It doesn't matter how much bigger you are than me. It doesn't. It doesn't. First, I have a warrior's heart. I'm not going to stop once I start. Just don't get me started. It'd be good. It's all good. Just don't get me started. But once I am started, I know what I need to do. And I know how I'm going to do it. And what is that? A warrior will never tell you the plan they make for war. That's asinine. It's asinine. You don't do that. You keep that plan close to your heart and just hope you never have to use it. But if you do, absolutely, absolutely. Create a plan for yourself. Not something that's so like stringent that you become disappointed if you don't accomplish this at that time frame that you've decided. That's not how life works. Set loose goals. Goals for your health, goals for business, goals for self-protection, whatever it is, everything. Set goals. Allow yourself to achieve goals in the order that your life tells you is appropriate. Just allow it. See it unfold in front of you. See it unfold. One of the things that I love about setting a goal to grow plants from seeds, I see the effects, the results of the effort I put into things. I see it with my own two eyes. I see it. I witness it. I witness the growth. I just started a whole bunch of seeds yesterday. I've been excitedly looking at it every couple hours. Like, girl, they're not just going to pop out after a few hours. Okay. It's going to take a little bit. Calm down. Calm down. And that's fine. That's fine. It's okay for me to have that excitement about the potentiality. Okay. Hold on. Hi, baby. I'm live streaming again. I'm sorry. I don't want you to feel like I'm ignoring you. I wanted to answer at least one phone call. I'm so sorry. Everything okay? Okay, I'll try and call you later today. Love you. Oh, no. Okay. I'll text you. Okay, bye. My poor nephew. He's called so many times, and it's always like, I'm in a session. I have to call you back. I had to answer at least one phone call. I'm sorry, guys. Your foundation is in reverse. It's upside down, and you wonder why you're feeling like you're being crushed by your life, by your choices. The foundation is supposed to be beneath you, not laying on top of you and crushing you. It's okay for you to set all of that down. No one is going to steal that from you. Your foundation is too large to steal. They can't carry away the greatness that you are. They cannot theft any of your potentiality. They can't steal that away from you. The only reason you haven't reached The level of potentiality that you know on some level you have is because you haven't allowed yourself to put in the work, the effort, the time, the energy to do that. Ches says, foundation is definitely crushing right now. Roll out from under it. Roll out from under it. It's okay to roll out. Set all of that down. Give yourself time to breathe. There's nothing you have to achieve at a specific time. And whatever you think you have to achieve at a specific time and you fail to achieve it at that time, I promise you, you were not ready to accept the blessings that that was going to give you. That doesn't mean you lost that opportunity. That means it's going to cycle back around for when you are ready, when you have developed that emotional, mental, spiritual, energetic maturity. Do you know how long Michael's been telling me to do a podcast? I did not have the emotional maturity to do it. What does that mean? It means emotionally, I felt like there was no value in people hearing what I have to say. I needed to further cultivate my sense of self, further ripen my emotional maturity. How do you do that without taking away from somewhere else? Why are you afraid of taking away from somewhere else? What you need to do right now is focus on you. And that's how you got that foundation crushing you in the first place. Because you think it's your job to be this octopus that has your tentacles in everything and maintaining the entire world. That is a parasitic mindset. I'm not saying you're a parasite. I'm saying you believed in a parasitic program that was designed to do exactly what it's doing to you right now. You don't have to be everything for everyone. You have to go through the process to learn you already are everything. And everyone that could benefit from just witnessing you be who you are will find you. They will find you. And just by existing, you will serve your purpose in their life. You don't have to believe that mindset anymore. Did you know one of the most common parasites is actually a whole bunch of tentacles? And it's the kind where if you try and rip it off, if you try and cut it up, right? Every piece that is cleaved from the main source, much like our insecurities, it will go ahead and become a completely, independent, autonomous parasite. You go through one event and you don't properly handle that event and it gets messy. Every single one of those strands from when you cut that cord is now a new mess all on its own. Stop rushing. Stop trying to think that you have to give to everything and everyone all the time in order to what? Have permission to exist? That you got to buy your existence? I mean, there's a lot of things you need to buy in life, like utilities, a place to live, clothing, food. You don't need to buy someone's approval. You already exist, honey. You already exist. Like hell, even if I don't like you, because there's some people, like, I really don't like them. I don't want them around me. That's okay. That's human me. That's okay, you guys. It's okay for you to not like someone. It's not okay to be mean and vindictive just because you don't like someone, but it's okay to have that sense of, you know what? I don't like you. And just because I don't like someone doesn't mean I'm suddenly taking away my saving grace from them. Like, no, I'm not God. I'm a fractal of a fragment of the consciousness of God, but I'm not like the entire brain. I'm like a ganglion, you know, a component of a neuron. I'm not even the full neuron cell. You know what I mean? I'm just a component. So how could I ever then begin to expect myself to function as the entire brain, brainstem, spinal cord, and basically the entirety of the nervous system, the central nervous system. Like, I'm just a ganglion. I'm just like a hairpiece. Like, it's just one little strand. Yeah, that's all I am. And to expect me to then take on the responsibility of being the entire CNS, that's like obnoxious, is it not? It's obnoxious. Why do we allow ourselves to behave in the most obnoxious manner in regards to our expectations of ourselves? Would we ever ask someone else to do that? No, never. Like, oh my God, that would be so unfair. Okay, simple question here. If someone makes you an amazing meal, right? They cook it at home. They went through all the effort to prepare it. They did a beautiful spread on the table. Like, they decorated everything complete with the candles and all of that. They really went all out for you. They brought out the nice china, and, it's an entire, like, 5-course meal, right? And then the meal is done. They gave you the dessert and everyone's happy. Would you be okay if they are then clearing the table and doing all the dishes, and then they're going to massage your feet afterwards, right? Because you must have been tired eating all of that amazing food. Is that okay? Is it okay for the chef to also have to do all the cleanup? Because most people will be like, no, that's bullshit. If you cooked, you shouldn't have to clean. Like, the people who enjoyed the meal are supposed to show you the appreciation and do the cleaning so that you can rest, because you've been on your feet this whole time, right? So why are you expecting yourself to be the cook, the party planner, the cleanup, and the masseuse? You're being crushed by your own expectations of yourself. It's not the world crushing you. It's your unfair, unrealistic, unbalanced, non-centered expectation of self. How do I know this? Because I've done that to myself for most of my life. That's how I know. Was it healthy? No. Was it something that helped me to grow? It's something that added to my understanding that I had to cultivate on my own, and that eventually helped me to grow my understanding. But I had to be very honest with myself. It wasn't something that, like, oh, here, let me explain it to you. No, because the people who were in the environment that allowed that, they didn't see anything wrong with it. As a matter of fact, when I stopped doing that, they're like, oh, you think you're too good for everyone. Oh, I think I'm too good for everyone because now I'm loving myself the way I've so generously loved you without you even asking me to. Gotcha. Gotcha. So there are some people who will think that you are selfish for now loving yourself in the way they've been benefiting from this whole time. Really assess that. Really, really take that in. So you're mad that I'm loving myself in the way that I love you, but you don't see anything wrong with me overdoing for you. Mm. 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 Gotcha. Scars into Stars says, what happens if that's all there is, me being of service in the lives of others, and the foundation has been crushing since birth? Is it parasitic when love or lack thereof is what is crushing? So that's basically my life story, right? I come from a culture where women are supposed to be the homemakers. They're supposed to keep the home. It doesn't matter what your age is. I come from a very patriarchal, misogynistic type culture. Still a beautiful culture, and I still cherish it, but that's the reality of the culture I come from. Being the youngest in a family as large as mine with no other girls, I was expected to clean the whole house. You're going to have to get to a point where you are an adult and you are making decisions for yourself. And if that family that loves or lacks the love that you need doesn't like it, they can suck a hairy donkey ball sack. Because no one can force you to continue that cycle unless you consent. So is it a question of what happens, or is it a question of why are you allowing it to continue happening? And then it's a question of, well, what happens though? Because I have nowhere to go. Honey, I didn't have anywhere to go to. That's why I was stuck for 5 months in a parking lot. I'd rather do a parking lot where I can find that internal peace than continue to return to an environment that makes me continue to believe I am less than what I actually am. So what happens? You choose. That's what happens. You choose. You're either going to exit that environment with your dignity and potentiality, or you're going to continue to live in that environment and choose to be a byproduct of it. Those are the only things. Those are the only things. And scars into stars, you're not the only person that has that question or is living through that. I know I've lived through that. I know quite a few people who have lived through that. And at no point has it suddenly magically changed with the amount of meditation, prayers, good intentions, mantras, mudras. Like, no, nothing changed it until the person exited it and found that center point within them, cultivated that, anchored that, and then eventually chose to return back and continue to be that. You see what I'm saying? It's not that you have to forever be gone. It's that so long as you can't maintain the sense of who you are, you have to abstain from the environments that continue to make it its mission to tear you from your point of center. These are conscious decisions that need to be made by you. By you. Because I tell you, I have relatives who they saw the different situations. And it was kind of like, oh my God, that's so messed up. But that's your family. That's your family. Okay. That's your family. Okay. They can be my family silently from afar. Doesn't mean I have to stop loving them, but it does mean that this is not the environment where I'm going to heal. And that's the reality of it. For a large percentage of us, pretty much everyone, you will not heal in the environment that made you sick. And when you find yourself saying, I'm sick and tired of this and that, yes, you are sick. There is a sickness that is going on in that environment. If you're going to stay there, you're going to stay there, and you're not going to heal from there. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you'll be the exception. I doubt it. I'm going to be honest. I doubt it. I doubt you'll be the exception. Because really, if you can't even maybe entertain or consider would be the better word. Consider the gravity of what I'm saying. You're in denial of yourself. You're in denial of what you're actually going through. And if you can't see clearly the reality of it, how are you ever going to resolve it? You're not. You're going to work on things that you think are the issue, but they're not really the issue. They're just not. You're working on the symptoms. It's like allopathic medicine. It doesn't work on the root causation. It works to suppress the symptomatic presentation of the situation. So let's see. You're familiar with what this is. This is something that you've continued to go through repeatedly over and over and over, going through the same thing over and over and over. It's hard. It's hard if this is all you've known. It's hard to begin grasping a different way to be. I didn't know there was a different expression of me and my truth until I removed myself from the toxic soil that continued to poison my roots. Not all plants will grow in all types of soil. I put succulents in regular potted plant soil. Apparently, they need their own type of soil. I did not know this, and I wondered why my plant was dying. And then one day I saw a video of like, yeah, don't put it in that type of soil because it retains the water for too long and it ends up overwatering and killing your plant. Oh, that's what happened. I mean, would it have resolved the issue if I went to the plant and said, "You lazy good for nothing plant, how dare you be disrespectful? You need to choose to heal." Like, no, it needs different soil. It needs different soil. I could move it to every single window of the house. I could, do this and that differently and yada, yada, yada differently. It was always the soil. It was the soil. Healthy plants cannot grow from unhealthy soil. When you try and do that, you then begin to enter into this realm where you're going to have to add all of these chemicals and all of these things. The health of the plant is first determined by the health of the soil. And that is the only reason I had to leave. And I was gone for only as long as it took for me to recoup, regenerate the soil, the roots, the leaves, the petals, all of that. There's some nurseries who will take your dying plant and they'll rehab it for you. They'll rehab it for you. They'll get it healthy again. And then they'll teach you how to maintain it. But here's the thing. You're not doing it in a week. Probably not even doing it in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. It is a long process, a very long process. And maybe that's the thing. We're making a lifetime process and trying to turn it into a week-long workshop. And this is not going to work. It's not going to work. When I first talked to my husband about certification program, he's like, oh, how long is it going to be? Like 2-3 sessions? No, it's 40 hours. He looked at me like, 40 hours? Yeah. If I want to teach them properly and I want to make sure that they are safe working without me, yeah, that's the bare minimum. That's for level 1. It's going to be 40 effing hours. He's like, that's a lot. Hey, I'm going to be upfront. If you're not going to commit the 40 hours, you're not going to get certified. He's like, okay. Yeah, it's going to take that long in order to learn something so intricate. Even at the base level. Your life is intricate. It's complex in its simplicity. And it's simple in its complexity. We try and put these human perceptions of how life should go, failing to factor in the sovereignty of souls that are involved within those human processes. You're never going to be able to properly predict what a sovereign will choose. Just ask all the people who've tried to fuck with me over the years. I've never chosen what they assumed I would. I just haven't. I've never chosen what they assumed I would choose. They've never been able to subvert me because I'm living chaos. You can never predict how I'm going to react. When you think I'll be combative, oh my gosh, the amount of gentle grace that oozes from me. When you think I'll be submissive, yeah. Smack on your face as soon as you realize, oh shit, I bit off way more than could even fit in my mouth. This girl is crazy. All parts of me are valid. All parts of you are valid. Allow yourself to go through this process. Ches says, I try to remind myself it's one day at a time, but it can still feel like such a long day. Yeah. It's usually when you're not fully engaged in what it is, the task at hand, that it feels like such a long day. My days feel like they're about 6 hours long, despite the fact that I'm up at like 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and I'm going, like literally going through the whole day, like going, nonstop going. Why does it only feel like 5 or 6 hours long? Because I'm fully engaged in the task at hand. Whatever it is I'm doing, I'm fully engaged in that. And it takes time to cultivate this within yourself. You are worth that investment. Investing the time and the effort to cultivate this. Oh my gosh, you're worth it. You are worth it. That time and effort you put in yourself, the return for that type of investment far outweighs the time and effort you would spend at a job so that you could afford the fancy purse, the fancy car, the fancy dinner, the fancy whatever. And why is it fancy? Because someone else told you it is. I'm serious. Why do you have the type of regard you have for a product? Because someone told you it was fancy. Someone told you it was valuable. Have you heard of Alaya? That's a designer. It's not valuable, right? What is that? Like Charlotte Russe? What is that? Is it like, no, it's expensive AF. But you didn't think it was because no one told you. Like, look at how this type of thing has affected your life. How have you allowed this to affect your life? Have you allowed yourself to really see whether or not you're truly living, or if you're simply an echo of what you are told to be? A regurgitation of someone else's expectations of who you're supposed to be. You're so much more than that, I promise you. I promise you. You're so much more than that. If me, as a stranger who's never met you in person, can feel the gravity of you, and I promise you this is not just a line, because unless I feel it, if I say it, it's bullshit, and I'm really not for that. But if me, as a stranger who's never met you in person, can feel the gravity of you simply in the comments, and even those of you who never comment, I feel you. You know that, right? I feel you. I feel when someone is missing, someone who consistently joins me, whether they comment or not. I feel you. I feel your absence. What type of gravity do you have to hold for me to feel you without even knowing who you are? I'd say that's pretty profound. I would say that's pretty profound. Like, I don't share this often because it's just like, it's my own personal thing. But throughout the day, I see people's faces. I feel them thinking of me. I feel the effects that I have on their center space because they're watching the live stream. They're watching, they're not commenting, but I feel them watching, and I see their face and I feel their emotions. I don't know who they are, but I feel them connect. I feel the shift in their perception. I feel their courage increasing. I feel them begin to give themselves permission to be more of who they are. I mean, that's profound. If I can choose to invest this in you, why can't you choose to do it for yourself? You have the freedom to do so here. You really truly do. You have the freedom to begin really taking stock of where your life has gone, whether it's in alignment with yourself, your soul, how it's made you feel about who you are, what you've achieved or haven't achieved. Oh my gosh, I gotta share with you guys. I'm such a proud mama bear. I posted it on Facebook. So my son doesn't like it when I like talk about him and the work that he does, right? He doesn't like it. He feels like he should not be put on by his mom. I'm like, I'm not some record exec. I'm not putting you on anywhere. I'm being a mom. Hello. But anyways, so yesterday we were conversing and he shows me like for the first time he shows me what he's made for something like the royalties or whatever. He's a music producer and he works with some artists and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's nice. That's actually a very considerable amount. And then he starts telling me about one of the songs that he did for one of the artists had something like 2.2 million plays. I was like, what? Yeah. And then he starts showing me a whole bunch of other tracks that he's done for other artists. And oh my God, why have we not been like celebrating this more? Why haven't you shared it more? To him, is not a big deal. It's like it's not a big deal. It's just like, yeah, well, I remember years ago because one of my cousins was trying to become a recording artist. He's very talented. And my son was maybe like, I don't know, 15, 16 at the time. And we saw my cousin and, they're kind of chatting and stuff. And of course, my cousin's not going to really say anything to me, but our other cousin, who is like a sister to me, he told her. And then she starts talking to me and she's like, hey, I didn't know that Jaden was a big deal. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, he has an entire cult following. And I was like, yeah, I know he does music stuff. And she goes, oh, you don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? What don't I know? And then our other cousin comes in and he's like, oh, no, he's a big deal. Okay. Okay. I'll believe that. But I didn't realize how big of a deal. Why didn't I realize that? Because I think my son still doesn't realize how big of a deal he actually is. He was like, he was giggling the other day and he shows me like, I can't believe this kid hit me up. I was like, what kid? He goes, oh, you're on TikTok a lot. You TikTok a lot. You probably know him. I was like, he shows me the kid. The kid wants to get a track from him and feature it on his TikTok. And I'm like, who's this kid? I've never seen any of his videos. This kid has like 4.5 million followers on TikTok. I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of people. And he's like, I know. How did this kid even hear about me? I was like, oh, you going to work with it? It's like, I don't know. I don't really want to, I was like, promote yourself. Let yourself be more seen. Allow yourself to be associated with those who have the reach that you deserve. Like me, I don't do that because parasitic things. He's in a completely different industry. Yet he doesn't fully, it's like he gets it, but at the same time, he's like, because that's his norm. That's his norm. He went to an industry event, I don't know, some sort of listening party or something like that, or some concert, I don't know, in the LA area a few months back. He went on his own and he was like, it's so weird because he doesn't post pictures of himself. People were stopping him or like, oh my God, you're he goes, yeah. And they're like, holy crap. So I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. still not understanding the gravity. I'm not in the music industry. I don't know any of that. I don't understand the gravity of it until he showed me how many plays his work gets from so many different artists. From so many different artists, so many different platforms. Are you just like my son? Where you don't understand the gravity of you? Where you haven't given yourself permission to like truly fully see the gravity of the life you're cultivating? Moonrock says maybe because he's passionate about it that he doesn't really care if he's recognized or not. Well, the thing that tripped me out was because for the past couple weeks, or maybe past couple months, I don't remember now. For some time now, he's been like, he kind of has a creative block and he just isn't, the passion's not really there. And, he always makes it seem like he hasn't really been doing much. Like, motherfucker, that's a lot. You're doing a lot, and had I known, I could have better understood the type of support he needed, where it's like, no, you're a big deal. You are a big deal. You're a big deal. Because I'm like, okay, he's probably going to be like, and my mom would say that anyways. Because I would. But now I understand that's actually the reality of it. I need to better cultivate that sense of accomplishment. And now it's kind of this thing of, did he learn that from me? Where it's like, I don't understand the gravity of the work that I do and I downplay it because that's my norm. And so now my own child has learned to downplay it because that's his norm. It's not a big deal. And maybe it needs to be a big deal. Maybe you need to begin seeing yourself as a big deal. Maybe you need to begin being the big deal that you were born to be. And what if it's not maybes? What if this is instruction from your soul? What if all of this was going on for me personally so that I could come with this message because your soul is the one that needed to hear it? This is not about being rich and famous. This is about living to your greatest potentiality and then elevating it, allowing yourself to really be who you are designed to be by Creator itself. I mean, that's so profound. Could you imagine if I listened to society and instead chose a typical day job where I'm not allowed to share any of my thoughts? You guys realize it's only in the time that I've been on YouTube. Really, truthfully, it's only in the time that my mother passed away, which is not a long time ago, that I've really began to allow myself to speak so freely. And even now, I still withhold a lot because YouTube has me shadow banned. F-U-Y-T. F-U, YouTube. YouTube has me shadow banned. If you guys aren't getting your notifications, it's because YouTube's being a dick. Sorry. Sorry for those on the podcast. I'm sorry. I've been saying a lot of bad words. I am a bad word sayer and I cannot be anything but that today. But yeah, it's only in the past like 2 years. Do you understand the gravity of that? I'm over 40. And I've only begun to find the courage past 2 years. And y'all probably think I got life figured out. I don't think so. I got my freaking thumb in my armpit. And I'm doing a chicken wing. One chicken wing. Because that's how we be living sometimes, where it's like we think we can actually fly with only one wing functional. I don't think so. You see this action right here? I don't think so. So here's the thing, okay? I have been shadow banned for about 2 years. No joke. No joke. I've been shadow banned. It's just it's gotten much worse in the past, since Ho video came out. That's when it got worse. Darnia, Darnia. But yeah, no. It's totally this thing of like I'm stepping into a place of speaking more openly, more candidly. If I can't do it on YouTube, I'm telling you guys. Oh, I didn't share it with you. Hold on. Let me share the link again. Not only will you get access to the Soul Sanctuary podcast, all levels of the Patreon membership will have access to an exclusive Emmy Evolving podcast. I'm not going to start another membership for that. No. If you are in the Soul Sanctuary Patreon membership, you'll have access to those live streams where I talk very candidly and very openly about a lot of different things. I have access to portions of information that I can't talk about ever on YouTube. This is not stuff from online. This is a knowing. See, things I don't like to talk about. I don't like to talk about a lot of things about myself. But what you guys have to know, aside from my gift of bilocation, one of my other most highly developed gifts is a precog ability. I don't like to talk about it publicly. I'm a precog. If you don't know what that means, look it up. So the podcast will air over Spotify and all those other podcast platforms. What I'm talking about is a private stream that's not going to be publicly accessible. It's just for members. The lowest level of membership is $15. $15 a month, and that will give you access to both the Soul Sanctuary and the Emmy Evolving. Yeah. So I can't hide who I am anymore on YouTube, and they're punishing me for sure. I'm losing my fear of letting you guys see the full gravity. Made the mistake of talking about CDT plates, and that's when they cranked all that up. They're like, now we're really not going to give anyone notifications. Well, it's the truth. Like, dang. But yeah, I mean, things will happen the way they're meant to happen in your life, in all of the things that you are meant to do. Things will happen in the way they're meant to. You don't have to force it. You don't have to, try and stick to some timeline or whatever else it is that you're thinking you need to do or stick with, or I don't know, whatever concepts someone told you is the truth. How do they know it's the truth? How do they know it's the truth? Because they read it somewhere. Because someone else told them. It was KRS-One, the rapper. KRS-One, he was being interviewed. I saw this video of one of his interviews, very old interview. And he's talking about, you don't understand the validity, the accuracy, or the intent of the words of an author until you know until you are aware of the life history of that author. And that's so true. That is so, so true. So how do we know what we are reading? How do we know? How do you know the information you're taking in is actually the truth? So many people talk about Jesus said. How do you know what Jesus said? Because it's in the Bible. Show me the version of the Bible that has his actual transcripts where he wrote it on papyrus. They did not have written history. They had oral history, which many say, oral history can sometimes be more accurate than written. But here's the thing. When you continue oral history and then suddenly choose to make it a written history and then take that written history and allow it to be transcribed and translated by people who were not members of the Essenes, the Nazarenes, the accuracy is gone. You know that story about it would be easier for a camel to enter through the eye of a needle? That was a mistranslation. He's talking about the doorway to enter into the city limits. It has nothing to do with an eye of a needle. It was a mistranslation. There's hypothesis that the Red Sea was actually the Reed Sea, because that's also a mistranslation. Is it mistranslated? Is it accurate? We don't know, do we? Yeah. We don't know. What I do know is that everything we've been told thus far is questionable. You tell me that Jesus was born Christmas time. That's the wrong time of year, because the whole point of Jesus being born in a manger is because his family needed to return to their home city because a census was being performed that year. According to historical documents, if I remember correctly, which I might have a faulty memory, so don't quote me, I believe census is only performed during springtime. Yeah. So what the F are we celebrating on Christmas? I do want to follow this up with, I absolutely believe Jesus existed. I remember it. I remember it. Yeah. My existence and my work does not contradict the truth of divinity, that there is divinity that exists, and that's what we come from, divinity. I don't know why I can't be who I am and still also have a connection to divinity. Because people often tell me what I'm doing is evil, that I'm attempting to usurp the power of Creator itself. And what do I have to say about that? Well, if you truly believe, I'm Catholic. We were indoctrinated to memorize the Apostles' Creed. I believe in one God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth. You know what I'm saying? That's the Father Almighty. How did I exist without his permission? Was it not he who created me? And if it was he who created me, was I not made in his form? What if I'm more like God than you? Wouldn't it be the equivalent of you attacking God? I'm not saying I am God. I'm saying, what if I'm more connected to my divinity and that's why I'm able to do the things that I do? I'm just saying. I don't believe I'm a Messiah. I don't believe I'm God. I believe I'm an expression of divinity and proof that it exists. And that without permission from the divine, I would not exist, especially not in the way that I do right now. Michael, Archangel Michael, is spoken about in so many different ancient texts, holy texts. He's even, if I remember right, he's mentioned in the Quran. Archangel Michael. Y'all, why would I have the right hand of God protecting me as I do this work if I wasn't sanctioned by creation? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Why would each of you have these spiritual teams that try and guide you, try and protect you? Your existence is sanctioned by Creator. You were willed into existence. And anything that tries to convince you that you are less than what you are is an abomination. It's the greatest disrespect, not just to the human self, but also the soul. There's so much at stake. There is so much at stake for you right now. You have to allow yourself to learn and grow and expand. Maria says, so you will not be on YouTube anymore. I will still be on YouTube. I'll still be on YouTube. I'll still be live streaming. But I will have exclusive content that will not be posted on YouTube. It will be posted somewhere else because YouTube is a bichacho. Bichacho. Yeah, you guys, I have no idea. Truly, honestly, genuinely, I have no idea who I am. I'm aware of quite a few of my different lifetimes that I've lived. I'm aware that this lifetime is an opportunity to further develop my understanding of all my previous lifetimes. I'm aware of how different I am than other people. And I'm also aware those differences don't make me any better. They just make me different, more capable of serving the purpose I was born to serve. Um, and I've lived a life where people left and right have tried to convince me of this and that about myself and my purpose and capabilities and what I should do and not do and who I should talk to and not talk to and all of this other BS. If I allowed myself to listen to all of that, where would I be? And I think the only answer, the only potentiality that's important is this one. When asked that question, if I listened to all of that, where would I be? Not here with you. That's all I need to know. Because this is the only place I belong right now, here with you. I don't care about other potentialities. I don't care what I might have, could have potentially missed out on. All of that's irrelevant. That's not part of my reality. What is your reality? Where are you right now? What are you doing with yourself and your life right now? And if it's not something that's bringing you some sense of satisfaction, accomplishment, um, ripening your sense of self and self love, why are you continuing to do it? Because something's going to be lacking. There's another area in your life that's going to lack. Maybe that's the area of your life that needs to be allowed to choke out. That's like, I have to water the whole garden because if I just focus on the plants that I planted, there's going to be parts of the garden that's not going to get water. And then it's this question of, well, what parts are those? Well, the parts that the weeds are growing in. Oh, did you want the weeds? No. Well, are the weeds medicine for you? No. So then why are you watering them? Why are you watering them? Oh, I have an option not to water them. Absolutely. That's your hand holding the hose. That's your energy paying that water bill. Water the things that you want to grow. And if you're going to water the thoughts, the opinions of people who are toxic, that's GMO, grievously modified opinions. And then you wonder why you're sick. You wonder why you don't feel good. You wonder why life doesn't feel good. I'm already telling you why. Stop wondering. That's the answer. That's the answer. My girlfriend Jenna already told you guys. A lot of the conflict that I have in my life, a lot of the times that I got into conflicts and arguments with people was because I have such a highly developed sense of clarity. I can clearly see what's going on. Yet most people don't want to hear it. And I've learned I can't force you to hear a truth you're not mature enough to know what to do with. Because I used to wonder, why would you think that I'm attacking you and I'm just like stating something? I don't understand. Like, I'm not attacking you. I'm stating what I'm observing so that you have the opportunity to make the modifications that will facilitate goodness to return back into your life. I have no condemnations towards you. I don't expect perfection from you. This is not a criticism, it's an observation. Because criticism is not an observation. It's an observation paired with your dissatisfaction with what's being done or not done in accordance with your standards and expectations. I realize not everyone wants to hear. Why? Because not everyone wants to take accountability for the ways in which what they chose is what led to what they're living through. You guys saw it the other day, a recent live stream. Someone was in the comments about, like, I don't know, they love someone and they left anyways. And like, okay, well, why can't they leave? If they choose to leave, then they choose to leave. You can't take ownership. And they're like, they're not toxic. Yeah, you are. You're not toxic, yet you can come on a public live stream and criticize someone and no one can question you. Narcissistic much. I was just like, I'm gonna leave that alone because clearly, they don't want to hear anything that doesn't further support the storyline they've created for themselves. Are you one of those people? Are you one of those people? You know, Scars into Stars says, because of those bad soil roots, I had a moment like that with you at one point, but the truth inside of me kept calling me back to visit you and to hold space with you and to see your value. Oh, thank you for choosing that, Scars into Stars. And that's the thing. I honor it. If you guys lose a feeling or sense of resonance because you feel like I've called you out on something, really, here's my stance. This is my legitimate personal stance. The things that my attention is brought to in the comment section are things that are being used kind of like bullet points from my soul of subject matter for me to kind of touch upon. It's not me addressing anyone personally. It's just not. I don't know you enough. How could I ever like tell you you're living wrong? I don't know you enough. But see, a lot of people will take that as like, oh, she thinks she knows everything. She doesn't even know me. She's judging me. No, your comment is a bullet point from my soul about what I need to talk about. And that's it. I'm not even actually addressing you. That's it. You know, but I also understand if you perceive it in that way, then that's the truth to you. Where if you perceive me attacking you, then that's the truth for you. That's what your reality feels like. And if that means you're no longer going to be present, I absolutely honor that choice. Not because I don't need you, but because you deserve to be loved in the totality of your sovereignty. You have a right to choose what you're around. It's not because I think oh, no loss in me. No, no. It's not about loss or gain. It's about respect. It's about respecting that sovereignty. It's about recognizing if I'm going to choose as a sovereign, I must always uphold, protect, defend, fight for your sovereignty as well. That's the beauty about the truth of sovereignty. People who claim to be a sovereign, but never take into consideration other people's sovereignties, they're not sovereigns. They're spiritual narcissists, in my opinion. And it's okay. It's just an opinion of a layperson because I'm not licensed to treat, diagnose, or even identify people with mental health struggles. It's just an opinion. Yeah. Ches says, people are mad at the trigger of their truths they aren't ready to unpack yet. I spent much of my life being the quiet girl to prevent having that effect on people. Ches, maybe we're on the same path. Maybe it's time for you to find your voice and use it. Not to call people out, but just to speak truth when you feel so called to. I'd never say these types of things to people in person. I couldn't hurt your feelings like that. But the reality is this. Although you perceive it as me having this personal connection with you, and that you're sitting here with me in my home, sipping coffee like we're BFFs, I'm alone in a room all by myself, talking to a green dot, seeing letters scroll up my screen. That's the reality of my experience. I feel your energy, but I always feel energy. I can compartmentalize it. In person, face to face, in a private session where you're on video with me. I don't know that I could speak the way I do. I'm pretty sure I would withhold quite a bit of that just because I know, like, I see your face. I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to make you feel badly about yourself. Do I need to say that? Is it going to trigger your growth, or are you just going to feel attacked? Are you going to feel as though someone whose opinion obviously you value doesn't think well of you? I'm not that kind of person. I'm really not. When I get snippety, I'm responding to words on a screen. It's rare for me to actually address an actual individual. Universal D says, I second that at one point in my life, it was a lot going on, and I was in the space between living for others by staying in the church, but wanting to think for myself. And that's the thing. I can never exist in a place where I'm not allowed to think for myself or question or form my own thoughts. I cannot, not anymore. Once a consciousness is expanded beyond a certain point, it can never return back to its original dimensions. You are forever changed. Part of my purpose is to expand your awareness even for an hour or 2 hours, 3 hours, however long you're in the live stream with me, however long you choose to watch the video or listen to the podcast. It's a profound purpose, but it's so simple. I just simply have to show up. Yes. Yes. Because when you arrive and I arrive and the words start coming out and they begin to expand your awareness of you through the questioning of the validity of what you've been forced to endure, you can never return back to that same space of smallness and self-neglect. Never. If you try to, you'll be uncomfortable. Am I celebrating your discomfort? No. I'm cherishing the fact that you honor me with some sort of place or role within your journey that I could help you with that. Even for one show. that I could have that type of effect, like, holy crap, really? Really? Like, for real? You said, Scars into Stars says, you said you didn't believe in forgiveness, and I got in my feelings because the only foundation I know to be my true foundation was challenged, and I'm still maturing spiritually, and I'm grateful for all. That's beautiful. Yeah. I don't believe in the program of forgiveness, but that doesn't mean I don't believe in moving forward, in laying to bed those yucky feelings, that sense of betrayal. Like, I'm not going to carry that with me. And that's the important thing. Just because I don't believe I have to forgive you doesn't mean you have to remain a villain in my eyes. I process it there, and it stays there. And whatever I bury with the knowing one day flowers will grow from you. And whatever ended right then, beauty will come from it. One day, beauty will come from it, not because I planted seeds, but because I was willing to allow you to be who you are. I was willing to allow our souls to decide whatever needed to be decided without trying to control. There have been people who have walked away from me, and it's devastated me. What? Michael says, check my phone. Okay. 11:22. 11:22 at 86%. I'm just saying. Michael, stop. I'm going to get going. I'm done. His little thing right there just really irked me, and so I'm done. um, okay, Michael says, read Matthew's comment. We're here. I've only been able to unpack because of your honesty. I have strength from some place I feel is there. I may not know where exactly, but it's a good trigger. Thank you. Oh, it's a very empowering thing to be able to be as truthful as you've made me feel I'm safe enough to be. All of you. All of you. It's a very powerful thing. Very, very powerful thing. You guys carry that kind of gravity. It's not just me. It's not. It's not just me. Part of my function is to simply show you it's okay to be you. It's okay for me to be me. It's okay for you to be you. We could all just be ourselves. And as we begin to be more of ourselves, we'll put the costumes away, we'll put the masks away, we'll begin to understand that the luggage we've carried, they're not secrets or skeletons. They're the truth of the robes that our soul wears. Sometimes it's okay for you to be naked in your truth. Other times, it's also beautiful for you to adorn your truth with your life experiences. It's not dirty laundry. They're beautiful garments, custom designed to fit just your spiritual body, made by the hands of Creator. There's nothing in your luggage that you need to be ashamed of or hide, I promise you. No matter what's happened to you, wear it. Wear it beautifully. You are not the end result, byproduct of toxicity. You're something so far beyond what you can comprehend. Keep spending time with me, and I promise you'll begin to comprehend the gravity you hold is equivalent to the gravity you feel from me. We come from the same place, are made of the same things, are returning to the same place called home. Doesn't matter what you believe. We all have a birthright, and that birthright has the keys to our own kingdom. It honestly doesn't matter what you believe. Anything that was made of man has been tainted by that human's lack of knowing. We weren't designed to know, understand, compute the gravity of that divine design. You guys, I know a lot. A lot. My brain still can't comprehend. The more I know, the more information is allowed to come back to my conscious awareness, the more painful the realization is of how limited our human brain actually is. It's not that we're not allowed to know, it's that we're incapable. When we can't punish ourselves for lack of capability, we have to accept where we are in this human existence. We have to accept the goal is not to be the smartest, the best, the one on top. The goal is to cultivate a space where we all feel that way. We can all be different. We can have unified diversity. We already have that here. How about we spread it out into the world? How about you do for your local environment what I do in this space? Really, what's so hard about it, aside from finding the courage to show up just as you are? And here's the thing, you're already that. You don't even have to try. You don't have to try to be yourself. You just have to try to stop being something you're not. Whatever role you think you're playing, I promise you it's not you. Whatever labels you've put on yourself, I promise you that doesn't belong to you. Whatever pain you carry from guilt, shame, experience, childhood, young adulthood, late adulthood, whatever it is, that doesn't belong to you. It was only meant to grow you, to trigger growth and realization. Kiss it and give it back to God. Because that's not for you to hold. Someone else needs to learn that lesson, and they can't until you let it go. That's why I don't believe in forgiveness. There's nothing that you could ever do to me that usurps the power of my soul. I don't see you as a villain. I see you as a tool in the hand of my soul, brought to me to encourage me to grow in ways that maybe I don't like. But that's okay because I'm being defiant to my growth right now. So I understand what I chose not to learn in softness and compassion. You were brought into my life to challenge me to choose that learning, to choose that growth. Thank you for your part in my growth. You don't have to stick around anymore. That's why I don't believe in forgiveness. You don't need my forgiveness. You need my gratitude. You didn't grow me. I grew myself. But you did play a role in providing me the type of life circumstance that gifted me the opportunity to see, to know, to choose me and my growth. So, guys, go check out patreon.com/Soul Sanctuary and the number 23, Soul Sanctuary 23. If you'd like to hear me speak more in depth about all sorts of different things, if you enjoy the content on the Soul Sanctuary podcast, if you want to hear all the things that I can't say on YouTube, go check it out. The lowest membership tier is only $15, and it'll give you access to both the Soul Sanctuary exclusive content as well as the Emmy Evolving exclusive content. I'm not creating another Patreon for the Emmy Evolving. Nope. in that Emmy Evolving exclusive content that you'll receive access to from the Patreon membership, I'll begin sharing some of the precog messages that I've been told need to now be shared. There's a lot of changes that are being put into place by force. There's a lot of things that are needing to be considered, and a lot of things that I can no longer stay silent on, but I cannot be publicly visible on YouTube doing it. Maybe you need to know, maybe you don't. Listen to your heart. Not everyone needs to know that information, but if you feel called, go check out the Patreon. I'm setting all that stuff up today, so that's going to be starting next week, part of my regular schedule. That exclusive Emmy Evolving content, in addition to the Soul Sanctuary exclusive content. And if you sign up before February 2nd, that 2-2 sound bath event, you get free access to that. You get free admission as part of my welcome gift. And, y'all know me. I love to do things that are little perks and like little secrets between us. Who knows? I might have additional little things that I quietly give you guys here and there just for being present. That's definitely well within the realm of things that I normally do privately. So please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. If you are viewing this from other social media platforms or podcast broadcasting apps, please follow, like, subscribe, whatever it is y'all do. Interact with it. If you can comment, please leave a comment. Share your thoughts. Anything you want me to talk about, please comment it in any of my videos or audios. Share it out. Share it out to people who you love and you feel would benefit from something I said. Don't tell them what part to listen to. Let them be drawn by their own soul to hear specifically what they need to hear. That's the most beautiful way to love someone. Just let them know, I think there's something for you in this video. And then set them free to decide what that is. Being able to support each other in that way. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I really, really love it. I love it. Okay, I got to get going for real. I love you guys. Check out the Patreon. Check me out on all other social media. I need to do more video clips. Just been so busy. But I will soon. I'll see you